If you guys like that Man Seeks God clan boss team, which is really awesome, you guys are going to love this one, Cardiel Seeking Man. Welcome, I'm the Deadwood Jedi, and this is another Raid Shadow Legends video. We are going to be doing a very cool variation on the Man Seeks God team. And you guys seem to like that video that I did a while back. It's a very cool clan boss team. And if you don't remember what it is you're utilizing Maneater to keep us unkillable for the AoEs, as well as block any affinity debuffs, And then we're going to be utilizing Godseeker Aniri to give us a revive on death for the stun. So the stun's actually going to kill somebody, and she's going to bring somebody back alive. And then of course we have Seeker to make sure that we go fast enough to be able to actually utilize all of our skills. Now the cool thing about Godseeker Aniri, who's fantastic for that, is she has a passive ability that revives, but more importantly she has a revive, like a revive skill on a 4-turn cooldown, and so we're able to have a very good, very affinity friendly team as a result. It also helps that she has that buff extension ability, makes it really easy. But today what we're going to do is we're going to bring in Cardiel. And this does wonders for our team. Not only can we use Cardiel as our speed lead to reduce the speeds and the gear that we need to put on our champions, but Cardiel brings incredible buffs, crit rate, crit damage, and also has an ally attack ability, which, as you know, can really skyrocket your damage. But just as importantly, he has a revive on death buff, as well as a block debuffs buff. And that combination is great because it makes us affinity friendly, just gives us extra insurance on that. And then on top of that, we'll be able to revive our champions so we can still have our DPS die every turn, and Cardiel will bring them right back to life. It's a really fun team, really cool comp. Now, the best kicker about this one, this particular team that I'm going to be bringing in, because I'm in the account of Red Fox. He asked me if I would like to do a video on this since I had done that Man Seeks God. I was like, yeah, that sounds pretty cool. Then I forgot about it. Then he pestered me. Then I forgot about it. Then he pestered me, and I was like, okay, I got to do this. It's a cool team. It's a very cool team because we're going to be bringing in Ninja as well, and he does bonkers damage. Now, as always with Ninja, he's not going to work for Red Affinity, so you have to bring in somebody else. But even if you do that, it's still a one key team with Ninja, full auto team on both Nightmare and Ultra Nightmare. Without Ninja, it takes a little bit of setup on Nightmare, but still, and Ultra Nightmare, but it's not a big deal to do that. So I'm really excited to show you guys this comp. I think it's a really cool team with really great damage potential as well. So let's go ahead and jump in. We're going to look at the setup, then we're going to do the run, and we'll look at the gear and the champions right at the end. Real quick, before we get into all that, I do want to remind you guys, if you haven't already, go ahead and hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell so you do know when the next one of these awesome clan boss teams comes out so you can see it. I get a lot of fun out of showing these to you guys, and I know you get a lot of enjoyment watching it. So go ahead and hit that subscribe. It's the easiest way to support me in the work that I do. On top of that, if you enjoyed today's music, I do have that Soundstripe link down below in the pinned comment description of this video. So if you're interested in that, you want royalty-free music, I highly encourage you to check them out. I really enjoy the music. And you can use code DeadwoodJedi and save 15%. But enough of all that, let's go and look at the setup. So you go ahead and see the team that we have going here, right? We have Cardiel as our lead, really lowering the speed requirements for this build and this team. And we can see we have the presets all labeled there so that we can go ahead and have this run on full auto. We're going to be using this Heavenly Host ability. It's the one with the increased crit rate, the increased crit damage. That we're going to be using right before the stun, right before the second AoE, I should say. And then we're going to use that Angel Song, which provides the block debuffs and that Revive on Death ability right before the stun happens. This is going to guarantee that even if someone gets killed, they're going to come right back to life, and this is what lets this team run for 50 turns. We also have Ninja here, and we're going to actually prioritize the Science Slash, so we do need to make sure that the skills are prioritized. We need to have them happen in a particular order, right? So normally one of the things we'd like to do, if we can, is obviously utilize the HP burn ability as often as possible. It's only on a 3-turn cooldown, and Science Slash does reduce that turn meter cooldown. But unfortunately, because of the turn meter boost on his A1 skill, we absolutely have to have that happen at the right times. And so it is important to make sure that we prioritize that A3 ability first, and then we get the Hail Burn going second. And the next champion, of course, is going to be Longbeard. He's got that ally attack ability, and it's important to make sure we use the ally attack abilities not only from Longbeard, but from Cardiel at specific times, because again, that's going to utilize Ninja's A1 ability, and we need to make sure that that happens, that turn meter boost happens at the right time. So we're going to actually open with his A2, but we're going to prioritize that A3 skill, the ally attack ability, making sure that it happens at the appropriate time. And then, of course, we've got Maneater here. We're going to start with that Ancient Blood ability. That's the one, the unkillable one, and it's pretty much full auto after that. And you can see Seeker's ability, we are prioritizing and starting with that turn meter boost ability. And with these presets, this is a full auto team on Ultra Nightmare, which is pretty remarkable. Full auto with or without Ninja in this comp, which is great. Now on Nightmare, it's not full auto without Ninja, but with Ninja, interestingly enough, it is. So there's a separate setup for that. It's not really a big deal. I'll have instructions for all that on the website so you can kind of figure that out as you need. So the best thing about this comp, it is full auto. Just have to click start and walk away. That's all you got to do. Now, the way this team works is very similar to the Man Seeks God team. It's pretty much identical, right? We use Maneater to make us unkillable for the AoEs and to block the debuffs from the affinity. And normally you'd have Godseeker extend that debuff, at least on that first turn, to make sure that we are affinity friendly throughout this fight. But instead, we have Cardiel, and Cardiel's pretty amazing because Cardiel can place a block debuff ability on our team for 2 turns, along with that Revive on Death. And so what Cardiel's going to do is be able to block that debuff, make sure that we don't take the stun, and keep us unkillable for the rest of the fight in combination with Maneater. And pretty much it syncs very quickly. I think it's right after that first stun, we're pretty much on point here. Might not be fully in sync until about turn 6 or so, but right away, we're pretty much running this team without any issues. Now, obviously, the stun doesn't hit incredibly hard. It takes a while for our stun target to actually die. But one of the great parts about having Cardiel in this team, other than his ally attack, other than his incredible buffs that he places on everybody, is the fact that he places that block debuff ability on us. That means up until somebody dies, it doesn't matter who takes the stun, because they're not going to actually get stunned, right? So it's a really nice, makes this comp so much easier to run using a champion like him. Now, for this team, Longbeard's the one that's going to actually die. He's not going to do any healing, so eventually, over time, he's going to be the one with the least amount of HP, and he'll be the stun target. Now, obviously, Cardiel does a little bit of healing along the way, so it does take us a while. Probably should be about turn 12 or turn 13 before he actually takes that stun and goes down. Now, we're not going to sit here and watch the entirety of the fight, but I do think it's important to watch that lead up into the stun. So I'm going to go ahead and let this play with the music going on so you guys can enjoy that. And then once he takes that first stun and we let it, maybe we'll watch one more stun round so you can see how it happens when he actually dies and revives. We'll go ahead and skip towards the end so you can see the run at its full glory towards the end of this thing and see how everybody survives along the way. It's a pretty impressive team, does really good damage. Ninja's obviously amazing. So yeah, enjoy. So when building this team, the trickiest part is definitely the healing that Cardiel brings to it. So you have to make sure everybody else hits hard enough so that Longbeard's definitely going to be the lowest in the HP level, and that's going to make sure that he takes a stun. But you can see here, everybody went to 0 after those AoEs. We're coming up on the stun. Longbeard is going to have the lowest amount of HP percentage on this team. You can just see the bar there, and it's definitely going to be lower than everybody else, and that's crucial because that's what's going to determine why the clan boss is going to try and stun him. Since everybody can be killed, he's going to go for the one most likely to die. That's Longbeard. There he goes. There's a revive, and we're back in sync, guys. We got it going on now. So that's all we wanted to do. And you can see this team is going to run nice and smooth from this point forward, as even though we're going to heal up some here, the clan boss is going to continually knock us down to 0. It's really important. Unfortunately, Cardiel does do a lot of extra healing, and I mean, it's great, but it makes this kind of a build really problematic. So one of the things you got to do is make sure that everybody else is going to heal up enough, whether that's through raw damage, whether that's through like immortal gear or regen gear or lifesteal or a leech debuff. Don't do leech, that's probably a bad idea. But you need that kind of healing in there. Otherwise, you're not going to get this stun to happen at the right champion every single time, and that is absolutely crucial to making sure that this kind of team works consistently. And it's good to have Longbeard, blue affinity, so Seeker doesn't take that stun and die. We just need it to be a DPS, so having a blue DPS is pretty vital to this team. And we should see the stun happen right about now. Boom, he goes down and he's back, and the team is in sync. Yes! All right, let's jump to the end so you can watch this run. There we go, 116 million. I'm gonna be honest, this is actually kind of a bad result. I've seen this team do like 130 million before. It's a crazy good comp. Ninja's that good. I mean, he's just insane. But that's crazy numbers, right? That's a really, really high damage numbers. Comparable, I would say, to a Myth Fu team with using Turvold, right? My Turvold team sometimes does this damage, depending on affinity. And this is obviously going to be a very affinity determined team. We did go against blue affinity on purpose to really highlight the damage potential that this squad can do. But you can see Ninja's doing 43 million. We got 20 from Cardiel, 20 from Maneater, for crying out loud. Longbeard's throwing in 18, Seeker's throwing in 17. It's a very, very, very high-end team, and I like it a lot. I will say this, though, for you guys. If you think that this won't work as well on Spirit, I can't, or on red affinity, I should say, it's not going to do as good. Blue's probably going to be the best affinity for this team, but on red affinity, you can see here with Fane, it still is a one-key team, substituting Fane in for Ninja. Definitely can do that job as well. So it's a very solid team, for sure. All right, before we get too carried away, let's go ahead and look at the champions so you have an idea of the gear that was used on them. And we've got, of course, Ninja to start out. You know, it's only going 169 speed. That aura from Cardiel, I love speed auras. They're the best. 290 crit damage, 6,000 attack. I mean, obviously this guy is built to the nines, but that's how we're putting up 120 million in damage. So it kind of makes sense, right? But he's definitely really well built and very good for this team. Masteries, you can see we got attack tree, we've got support tree here. Just trying to, I think, extend those HP burns, make sure we land that decreased defense. And yeah, that's pretty good. Also, we got to be careful about counterattacks with Ninja because he does have that turn meter boost on his A1. So defensive tree is actually probably not something I would recommend for him because that can definitely throw your team out of sync. Then, of course, we got Cardiel here, a beast of a champion. He's so good. I really wish I had him. But he's built, I would say, pretty decent, right? 100% crit rate, 267 crit damage, 3,700 attack with only 1,000 base. That's actually a really good number right there. 171 speed. And then you can see the masteries here, right? We're going down to War Master, going offensive tree and defensive tree to get some counterattacks with this Retribution mastery here. But one thing you'll notice, he doesn't have Life Drinker on, right? Cardiel's not adding any extra healing. One of the things with this type of a team, Cardiel's actually in one of the quote-unquote DPS slots, right? He can die and be revived, and this team will stay in sync. So having either Cardiel or Longbeard take that fatal hit because of the revive on death skill that he places is okay and will keep this team going and in sync. So when we face, say, Spirit Affinity and the clan boss is trying to avoid blue affinity champions, that's all right. Cardiel can take that stun hit, can die, be revived, and our team still will stay in sync. Of course, Cardiel is healing himself every time he uses his A1 skill anyway, so the chances of him taking the stun aren't all that high, especially when we have a champion like Longbeard in the team who is designed to take that stun for us. Now, as far as the stats on him go, you can see 173 speed, the other DPS slot. We've got 264 crit damage, 5,400 attack, and 245 attack. He's built. This guy's built, right? With But that ally attack ability and the weakened debuff that he brings is a really nice champion for this team. Now, as far as the masteries go, you'll see it's almost identical to what we had for cardiel, right? We are going down the offensive tree and the defensive tree, avoiding Life Drinker here so that he doesn't heal up, so he becomes a preferred stun target for the clan boss. And of course, then we have Seeker, and he is built, I would say, pretty solid at 254 crit damage and 3,700 attack. Those are definitely good numbers for Seeker. 198 crit or speed on him. This is why, you know, all these champions are doing well over 17 million damage, because they all have good crit damage and good attack. As far as his masteries go, we're going defensive tree and we're going offensive tree. Again, we're taking Life Drinker here so he can heal up and doesn't take the stun, because obviously if Seeker dies, so does the team. And then very last, we have Maneater. Now you can see Maneater's in a toxic set just to add a little bit more damage to him. That's one of the reasons why he was, I think, number 3 in the damage for the total team, putting up almost 20 million. That toxic set definitely does a lot of work for him. As far as his stats go, 236 top speed. That aura from cardiel is absolutely insane. These are very attainable speeds for these champions, and that aura is the part that makes that work. He's got 100% crit rate, 216 crit damage, and almost 3,000 attack. All of those are really good numbers for him. And then mastery wise, didn't even finish the masteries, didn't need to, because we're going down the offensive tree with the Life Drinker, because Maneater's the other champion that absolutely cannot die from the stun. And of course, defensive tree to retribution, so he gets some free counter attacks. And just as a bonus, I know we didn't use her in the run, but you did see we could do 1 key damage with a Feign in this comp instead of Ninja. So I figured I'd give you a glimpse out of her speeds. What she is running, 192 speed, 257 crit damage, 4,400 attack. These aren't crazy numbers for Feign. Honestly, the attack is kind of low for her. So it's not surprising that we're only doing, what, 80 million damage or so. Obviously, there's room to improve this, which is pretty incredible. And you can see she's in the offensive tree and defensive tree as well. Subbing her into that ninja slot, we aren't looking for her to take the stun, so we do have Life Drinker on her. So with this team specifically, we can have Cardiel take the stun, and we can have Longbeard take the stun. Ninja's not going to be a viable choice for that. Feign isn't going to be a choice for that either. We're only bringing Feign in when we go against Red Affinity, and Feign's a great option, right? Red Affinity is a strong affinity for her, so she's going to maximize her damage in that. She's not going to take the stun, and that'll force it to go to either Cardiel or Longbeard, and that's perfect for us. Now, why is it Cardiel and Longbeard the ones taking that stun? Well, Cardiel's void affinity, so she's always neutral to the clan boss. Longbeard is blue affinity, so when we face red affinity clan boss, Longbeard's a preferred target. When we face void affinity clan boss, Longbeard's a valid target, just like Cardiel is, and then it's just going to depend on who has the most percentage of HP. And when we go against spirit affinity, Longbeard's weak affinity, so probably not going to be targeted by the clan boss. Tries to avoid weak or strong affinity champions, right? And so that's probably not who he's going to target, but Cardiel is a valid target because she's void affinity neutral. And so, and everybody else in this team is either blue or neutral. Seeker's blue, Ninja's blue, Maneater's void, so a very neutral affinity, so Cardiel will be the preferred target. That's why those are the two champions, Longbeard and Cardiel, that don't have Life Drinker in their masteries, so they're not healing up outside of what Cardiel provides herself. And if you notice in the run, the two people that always had the lowest HP when the stun came by, Cardiel and Longbeard. Every single time. So it's a really smart system and approach to this, right? That we can make these champions perform at this level and, you know, kind of keep those speed requirements down. So anyways, guys, I hope you enjoyed this. I thought this was a very fun team. Much thanks to Red Fox for letting us get on the account and showcase it for you guys. I thought this was a cool build that you might be interested in checking out. And of course, hit that notification bell so you know when the next one of these outs, and subscribe. That's probably more important when it really comes down to it. But guys, thanks so much for sticking around. This was a lot of fun. Until next we meet on the Deadwood Jedi.